In this video, I'm going to demonstrate to you on how to use JavaScripts called as Splide in your web design. Either you are using a Bootstraps or you're just using a normal HTML. I always been very inspired by a couple of like slides that I use. For example, I'm going to show you from here like these sliders where you can actually see three cards, and then what happens is you will see there is a next and the previous buttons on the right and on the left side, and with the numbering index at the bottom as an indicator. So what happens is you can slide them through, and you will just like slide 3 by 3, and in fact you can actually reduce the size, and you will see that the size can be resized to 2 on the mobile, and it can be smaller as usual. So I'm going to show you one more example I found from here, which is also in the same thing, where you can see there is a tree in a slide or in one slide. And you know, like, of course, if you reduce the size, it will respond to the size and you can actually make it smaller. And at the same time, you know, like I have like from Apple, for example. So if you see from here, you will have like a slider that you can see 4 at the same time, and you can slide through one by one, and you will have the next and previous button at the bottom. So these are like among of the examples of favorite designs what designers usually use in order for them to display content bit by bit, and you can control this by using cards and images and text, and there are so many more elements that you can put in each of the boxes here. Now let's just go to one of the JavaScripts that I find that is very useful and very light and easy to use. I'm going to show you a step one by one, or step by step, sorry, on how to use this. This is actually called as Splide. What you can do is you can go to the splidejs.com. The best part about this is it's lightweight, it's flexible, and it's accessible slider or the carousel that is written in the TypeScript. There's no dependency, no lighthouse error, and the best part is it is free. So what you can do is you can either download from here, but before we use it, I'm going to just like click on start. But before we do that, let's just see some of the examples what this script can do. So they give a couple of examples here. For example, the default one is just like the carousel what you did in Bootstraps, where you can see like one slide can actually go one after another. You can have next and the previous button, and you can also have like an indicator at the bottom here. So this is actually easy. The problem with Bootstrap is this is the only thing what you can do. You can have some variations of like only a single slides, either like fade in and fade out with a bit of a text and so on. But however, if you wanted to have anything that is more than that, you probably will have to look for another extension to it. So I'm going to show you a few more. So this is what we call as a side paddings, where you have like a little bit of a teaser on the left hand side of like what is the upcoming or the previous slide that was showing. So if I slide this thing through, you will see that the slide in the middle here, or the central one, will be focused, and then the rest will be in such a way. Alright, this is something what I'm interested to use and to do for an example later, which is on the multi-slide. So the multi-slide shows that you can show 3 slides at the same time, and this would probably be perfect if, let's say, I have like a product that I wanted to show, or probably I wanted to do like a little bit of the element of news, like maybe blogs and stuff like that. Okay, so I can also have like one slide per move. I can have the focus center, where I can actually focus it to the center. I can have like a drag free, meaning that I can just like slide through and so on. You've seen something like this either in the Spotify and so on. There is a custom pagination, meaning that I can do a page numbers instead. There is a slide progress, a vertical slider, where you wanted to make it like slide vertically, and there are actually a lot more. And there's even an auto height here, auto width and auto height, meaning that you can customize either to control it by height or you control it by width. Other than that, there is also an autoplay, meaning that you will see that it would actually play automatically by itself without you clicking on it. So if you see, there you go, it will actually slide through one by one. That will make a website look a bit more lively because it will be automated. Now, other than that, you can have like a fade transitions. Actually, there's a lot more. I'm not going to bother you with all of this, but what I'll do is I'm going to show you one of it. For example, like the breakpoint here. This is very interesting because I wanted to show you how it will look like by the time it's responded on some certain spaces. Okay, all right, and they are like so on and so forth. Wow, that is actually quite a lot. So what we do now is let's jump into our HTML and try to build up a web page by using splidejs.com. Okay, all right, the first thing what I'm going to do is let me just minimize some of the stuff here. All right, so I am going to create a new folder. I will call this as week 8. And then I'm going to create subfolder in here. You guys are free, feel free to come and join me as we go along with this. If you feel like you need to stop me for a little bit, you can pause this video so that you can just, like go along with me as we go along with this video. Yeah, so I'm going to go and create some subfolders in here. One, I'm going to call it as CSS, and then I'm going to call another one as a JS. And then I'm going to have another one here as an images. Okay, great. So what I'll do now is I'm going to use bracket for this. All right. You can use any kind of a text editor you want. Either you want to use a visual code or you wanted to use a Dreamweaver. So it's totally up to you. So what I'll do is I'm just going to open up brackets. In the beginning, what you do is you take your week 8 folder and drop it in. And then you will see like all the files and the subfolder that you created earlier will appear on the left side of your bracket. Now what I'll do is I'm going to go to File, open up New File, and then let's save this file first before we start writing anything. I'm going to call this file as index.html. Okay, so let me just write it correctly. Okay, there we go. So what I'll do is I'm going to put the exclamation mark here, press the tab key. You will see that it gives me like the basic structure of the HTML. The next thing what I'll do is I'm going to put in the title, call it as Splide JS. Okay, sliders. Excellent. So the first thing what I'll do is I'm going to integrate bootstraps in my file. So let's go to getbootstrap.com, go to the get started. I'm pretty sure that you know how to take it from here. There are two files that you need to copy and link them through. The first one is the CSS and the second one is a JavaScript. So I'm just going to copy the first one first, come back to my HTML, put it here, copy and paste, and I'm going to take the integrity and the cross origin lines out from here. So this is how it looks. Okay, and then after I'm going to go for the second one, which is on the JavaScript. Here you go. I'm going to take all the bundles, so it's actually much easier. Put it in the body, so it should sit at the end of the body, so it sits here. Now integrate and the cross origin, I'm going to take it out as well. We have done this several times in the class. I'm pretty sure you guys know what you're doing, so I'm going to save this. All right, so let's check it out. I'm going to put here a header, says that h1. Here it works, just to see whether it works. Then after that, I'm going to open up the live preview just to see how it looks like. Okay, so if it's delimitates the margins on the top or the padding on the top and on the left, and also if the text come in Helvetica or in Arial, that means that it actually works. So let's begin by adding up a couple of stuff in here. Now I am going to get some components or some elements and to put it into my depository first, or into my folder. First of all is I'm going to go to the Unsplash. Okay, and then I'm probably going to put here some pictures of perhaps, let me see, abstracts. Okay, all right, so great. So I have some abstract works here. Now I'm going to choose an orientation to be just only landscape. All right, so I got a couple of files, not this uncle here, so we look at something else. Yeah, so I have actually some pretty nice stuff here. So let's just copy up a couple of files. So I'm going to go for the first one. So let's download the small version instead. Perhaps maybe medium. All right, and then I'm going to take a couple off. So I'm going to take this one as well. Let's go to the third one. And then let's pick up maybe more, because I wanted to show how it looks like by the time it resizes. So perhaps maybe you take about 10 something. Okay, I don't know how many I have taken already. Hang on, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So I think 7. Okay, I'm gonna go for another 3. Let's pick this as well. Let's go with this one as well, and let's take another one as well. I think this is actually quite tall, so we are going to go for something that is a little bit lesser tall. I think this one is good. All right, so let's take the medium one. I think I'm good. So what I'll do is I'm going to open them all, copy them. Okay, and then after that, let's just put them in the folder. So where is my folder? You see, the good thing about doing the pre-recording is I can actually go fast, and you can pause the video, and then after you can try to do it on your own. So that is actually quite easy. So let me just come back here. All right, so how do I do this? I wanted to see as an icon. Images, and paste them in. There you go. In order to make it easier, so I'm going to put here a label. So let's say this is A1, this is A2. I'm going to speed up a little bit. 5, A6. Oh, sorry, accidentally opened. A7, A8, A9, and A10. There you go. So I have like all 10 pictures together in here already. I am good to go. So I will be using it in here. Yeah, so let's just jump back into your bracket, and you see that the code that I have already prepared so far are this. So let's take out this H1. All right, so in the beginning what I do is I'm going to install here sections. Okay, so that's the most important. After the session, I'm going to put here a container, and then in the container I'm going to put a dot row, and then after that I'm going to use a column. So I'm going to say that this is actually a dot col-12. Okay, just that. All right, so there will be a content in here. So the content in here later on will be the splider. So before we fill this up, let's just install the JavaScript splider. So this probably will be the first time that you do it. So I'm just going to explain to you. It's just the same exact way of how you install the bootstraps, which is there are two files that you need to take here. Number one is the CSS. CSS will determine how it will look like, or the physical appearance of the slider or any component that you chose in here. And the secondly is you have to put the scripts in. So the script for Bootstrap might be easy, but the script for the splider, it comes a little bit extra, which is actually the setting of how it appears on your screen. Don't worry, I'm going to guide you into how to use this. Okay, now let's jump back into the browser, or into the web page of the splider, or the splide.js, or sorry, splidejs.com. Why do I keep always saying this as a splider? So there are two buttons on the top here. The home will explain what it is. Secondly is you go to the documents. So the document will explain to you about the documentation of how to use it. Now I'm going to go to the get started. In the get started, it explained to me about the installation, and it says that you have 4 options in order for you to include the Splide in. Just to let you know, the Splide can be used in several things, either a website or a mobile application and so on. So there are a couple of ways for you to use this. Number one is you can install it with the npm, but the problem is we don't really use this. But what we did is I show you how to do the hosting of the files and also the CDN. Okay, all right, so let's just go to download the file first. All right, or maybe we use this term because I think this will be the best for us to use. I'm going to download the hosting file. So it says here that you can download the Splide package from the following links. So click on the button download. All right, what you can do is you can see that there is a source code.zip. Yeah, so the source code.zip, and I want you guys to just click and download that. All right, if you have already downloaded, open it up. It should be in your download folder. Extract it. Okay, and then open up the subfolders. You will see that there are a couple of things in here. So I'm going to instruct or direct you to where to go. You can go to the dist, okay, and then you will see that there is a CSS and also there is a JavaScript that you need to copy and paste it in. Okay, all right, so first of all, I'm going to go to the CSS. In the CSS, there are two files here. One is a splidecore.min.css. I'm going to take a simple one. So let's copy the splide.min.css. So what I'll do is, I'm going to copy this. All right. I will go back again to the folder where my week 8 is. Okay. In the CSS, and this will be an item that I will be pasting in. Okay, so basically we are taking that CSS and we are dropping it into our own CSS folder. The next thing what we'll do is we are going to do exactly the same thing, but this time I'm going to go to the next folder, which is a JavaScript or the JS. Open this up, and then there are several JS if you must see, but I'm interested on the one that is a splide.js. Okay, but to be also like more precise, I wanted to have a splide.min.js. Both are the same file, but the min has already been compressed and has already been like zip or compressed lah. Yeah, so that's why if you see the difference is one is 80k, another one is 28 kilobytes. So this is actually a smaller file, although that both of them are like super light and super small for you to travel on web. So let's copy this up. Let's see, copy, where are you? All right, then after that I'm going to go to back again to the desktop, week 8, and then the JavaScripts, and I will paste the file in here. There you go. So I'm actually good to go. Now the next thing what I'm going to do is, let's just close it up. Let's get back into the bracket. Okay, so I'm going to now copy these two files in here. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is I wanted to link the two files that we have just copied just now into the HTML. Okay, right. So let's go to install the CSS in first. So we have the first one, which is the Bootstrap. I will go to the next line and type link. Okay, and then I'm going to look for the folder called as a CSS, and then of course I will find the splide.min.css, and then just put it in as a second line of your CSS link. Okay, so if you got this already, I'm going to do exactly the same thing here with my scripts or with my JavaScript. So after the scripts or before the script, doesn't really matter. So what I'll do is I'm going to get another script. Just type in the word script, S-C-R-I-P-T. Okay, so you got this. Come in, type in the src because you need to link it to the source file. Let's go to the JS folder, and I have here a js/splide.min.js. Okay, so as for the time being, the file has been insert in here. Okay, that has been inserted in here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back again to the website of Splide, right? And I'm going to move on. Now it says here there are several of other ways. So CDN, there's also another way of integration. So I have already done the importing of the CSS. If you must know, that is actually what we did. We have already done linking of the style sheet. That is actually also what we have already done. I think we did something in advance already, yeah? So after that, also with the JavaScript lah. Okay, the JavaScript is somewhere at the bottom there. Anyway, let's move on to the HTML. In the HTML, you have here the basic structure. So the basic structure will look something like this. If you wanted to use the splide will come in the div splide, and then there is a div splide tracks, and then you will have a UL class splide list, and then there will be a list index or the list member of how many of the slide that you wanted to use. Each of these will come in one component, and then you will have like a slide 01 here as a label, and you can change this into anything that you want. For example, you can put an image in, you can put like a cards in, you can put any kind of a component, or even a text if you want to say, or if must use. That is actually how we use this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this up. Okay, then let's go back again into our scripts. So our scripts here, where we left just now, is from section, div container, row, and then after that column 12. So what I'll do inside here is I'm going to paste in this file. I'm going to paste in these scripts and then press save key or beautify it so it looks something like this. Okay, slide 1, slide 2, and slide 3. If you want to, you can actually have more. What I'll do is I'm just going to have here into 6 slides. So let's just copy and paste it in. Okay, or maybe 9. That would be great because I have all 10 files altogether for me to play around with later. So I'm going to put here as 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay. Alright, awesome. Now let's just save this, and then after look back again into our oh my god, I have to open up. Where was it just now? Here it is. Okay, so if I save this, I won't be able to see any changes yet. Okay, because we are halfway there. Alright, I'm expected to see things what I put in the bracket. At least that there will be a slide 1 until 9 that is in the list index or the UL. So it's supposed to be like a dot something. But apparently it appears to be empty. But don't worry, you did the right thing, except that you did only the halfway. Let's complete it back again, and then by coming back to the content. Alright, so what happened is, it says here that you have to apply the slides to use in. So applying the slides means that you need to put in a new splide amount. Okay, now let me just explain to you how this thing works. I'm going to jump back again to the beginning or to the home page of Splide website. Alright, I'm giving you an example. If let's say the example that you wanted to use is the default that looks something like this, what you will do is you can actually see this as a preview, and you can also see the code. If I click on the code, you will see that the code mentioned to be var splide new splide. Okay, this is the what do you call this, the CSS name, the class name. Okay, and then semicolon, and then splide mount. This is the most important things of all, meaning that it will tap into your component. So what I'll do is I'm going to copy all of them together, and I'm going to do this, guys. So let's just look into back our script back again. After you put the splide.min.js, I want you to go to the next line and type script again. Okay, and in this script, what you do is leave it some space. Let me just make it a little bit higher. Alright, so what I'll do in here is I'm going to paste in the script which I have already taken earlier. So it looks something like this. Okay, so var splide new splide dot splide semicolon splide dot mount open close bracket and then semicolon. Alright, now after that, save it, and let's take a look how it looks like right now. So if I'm going to publish this, you will see that now, oh, something appear here, which are they are the component of the left and right. Okay, and then there is like what do you call this, the indicator that explains that what this is about, and then there is a text of the slide 1, 2, 3 running. Okay, now if you happen to see this, I think we are going somewhere with this. I think it looks actually pretty okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install some stuff in here. Okay, now let's put in the image which we see earlier. So I'm going to come back, and then now this has to change into something. What I'll do is I'm going to say is that this is an image, alright, with somewhere in the image of A1, okay, and I'm going to install the rest with the same thing as well. Let's copy this and put the second one. Alright, so I'm going to change this into A2, and I'm going to change the third one into A3. So as simple as that. Alright, so let's put it as A3 here. Okay, now let's have a look first, halfway, how does it look like? You may have to refresh this a little bit and you will see that the pictures actually come in the actual size. Okay, so yeah, it looks something like this. Looks pretty okay, all right, but somehow you have to do something with this image. So what I will do is I'm going to put a class here as well that say, all right, that this is an image flute. Let's see whether this work. All right, let's say that this is an image flute, that it will be responsive later. Pair it with another slide. Okay, let's see. Okay, no, I think I put it wrong. Sorry, it's not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be inside of the image. Not here, not here. Okay, it's supposed to be in the image here. So image, I'm going to put as a class, and the image flutes. Let's take a look if this thing works. I'm going to start back again. Yeah, I think it's okay. See? All right, but the second one also I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to take this class image flutes, copy and put it into the second image, and I'm going to put it into the third image. So this is how it will look like. Let's refresh it back again. You always have to refresh it if you use a JavaScript, because the JavaScript is not on the live preview options. Yeah. So the second one look like this, the third one look like that, and the fourth one will be empty. All right. So the reason why I'm actually looking at it too big is because the picture itself is showing on column 12. All right. So if you want to make this to be smaller, what I can do is I can do this, guys. Take a look. Instead of column 12, I'm going to make it into maybe column 8 with the offset, okay, of 2. Meaning that it will be sitting somewhere in the middle, smaller, all right? And then after that, you will see that this is actually how it looks like. Looks pretty cool. Okay, I know that I can do for the rest. Let's just spend some time to complete this. Okay, so I'm just going to take this out, and then I'm going to put it in here. Let's just try this thing. Okay, let's say that this is A4, and then A5. Okay, that's a good thing about labeling back again of all my files. All right, that shows that it is easy to actually be recorded. Okay, all right. Let's try this out. I think I'm supposed to make an enter a little bit. And this is A9, sorry, A8, and the last one will be A9. So I'm just going to drop it here and put this as A9. Awesome. So let's take a look what happened. It will be interesting. Refresh this so you will see all of the pictures are actually in. All right. So if this works, that means that your Splide script actually works. That's interesting. Okay. So now I'm going to try out something new, which I'm going to make this into 3 slides in one. Okay, now that you have already had all of this in here, I don't think there will be much of the problem anymore. So let's just go back again to the website, and then after that see that which is actually the one that have a multiple slide. I believe this is actually the one that I'm looking at. Looks pretty lovely. So let's take a look at the code. The code here, it says that per page I need to have a tree, and I put here the rewind as true. That's not that difficult. So what I'll do is I'm just going to copy the rest of the stuff here. Let's come back into our scripts. Remember where you actually put the scripts here that mount everything all together. Simple. Just remove this and then paste up the new one. Okay, save it up. Let's take a look without any changes what actually happened on the other side. So let's just come back here, refresh back again. I see that I can actually see there are 3 objects that are moving one after another. Okay. However, I need to have a little bit of a space in between. So let's see what are the other options that I can do. By the way, it's not just only with 3 images at the same time, but it also rewind, meaning that if I click on again, it will just come back to the first tree that was previewed earlier. Okay, right. So the next thing what I'll do is I'm going to just browse through and see that what are the options that I have. This is 1 slide per move. Let's see a code. All right. Let's see, I wanted to have a custom pagination, slide, vertical slide, mouse wheel. There should be something that says here with the left and right nested trend with a breakpoint. Let's say I want to have a breakpoint here. All right. Okay, there is something that is called as a gap. All right, this is actually interesting because it explained to me about the gaps that I need to have in between of the page. All right, so I'm just going to type in or copy this up. And let's just come back here into the script first, okay, and says that I'm going to add in something that is called as a gap somewhere in between the per page of 3 and then with a gap of 0.7 rem. Let's just take a look what actually happened with this line. Okay, so I'm going to refresh back again. I will see that now there is a space in between here that says that there is a gap in between. Okay, I think this looked pretty interesting. So what I'll do is probably I'm going to say that I'm not going to have like the column 8 anymore. I'm going to have this with the column 12 with no offsets. Okay, let's see how it looks like on the bigger screen. So it looks something like this with 3, and then I think it looks pretty cool as it is. Okay, the only problem that I had is because some of the images here come in the same height and the same size, and some is not. So I think I know what I have to do the next time if I want to have the slide with the same height. What I'll do is I'm going to make it look more simple and more interesting. Okay, all right. So the next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it looks actually nicer as well as if it's responsive. So the first thing I do is it looks lovely from here like that, and then by the time I make it actually a bit smaller, all right, it looks okay, but the thing is the image look a bit too small for me on the smaller screen. Imagine if you have the text and the content, so the content doesn't really look nice. So what I'm going to do is I will go back again to here. All right, that is in the website on the breakpoint where we actually stopped right now, just now. What I'll do is I'm just going to copy up the whole thing here. Okay, and then after that you will see there is a breakpoint that is being introduced. Okay, so the breakpoint says that looks at 640, make sure that it only shows 2. At the 480, make sure that it only shows 1. Okay, now to make it easier, let's just copy up the whole entire things. Copy it. Then I'm going to paste it back in here where it belongs. So I see that the Splide mount scripts is here. Let's remove the whole entire thing, and I'm going to refresh it and paste it with a new one in. All right, so let's save it up so that it's easier to see. So without changing anything, let's just read first what's happening here. Now it says here that when I mount it, the per page I can see is like 3 slides. There is a gap of like 2 rems in between. All right, and then there's a breakpoint that says that at the 640 pixel, I can only see 2 with a bit of a gap in the height of this. At the breakpoint of 480, I will see this, which is a page. Per page, I only can see 1 with the same height and also with the same gap. Okay, all right, so I'm going to save this. Let's go back again into our view. In the view, you will see this. All right, it looks actually pretty nice. I kind of like it. All right, now let's see what happens if I reduce the size. Okay, now at this size, I only can see 2. However, it looks a little bit like short. It doesn't really look nice. So what I'll do is, let's just test it first, okay? And by the time it looks much smaller, all right, it can't go any much smaller, but you know, like it can actually go bigger. So what I'll do is, let's do some changes here in between, okay? Now I'm going to remove the gaps and also the height. Let's remove the height first and see that what's actually going on, okay? So let's remove the height. I say that I don't want to control the height, okay? So let's take a look. This is okay. All right. When it's big, it's fine. When it's small, it's still okay. But I feels like I need to actually change the breakpoint. Maybe the breakpoint was not so good at the 640. So maybe I'm going to put it as 800. So let's take a look what happened. At 800. So this is okay. This is okay. And when it's small, this is I think 800 already. So it looks actually that I can see only 2 at the same time. All right. And then I want to make it a little bit smaller. So when it's small, maybe I say that it's going to be at 640. It will only show only 1 at time. Okay. So let's take a look back again. This is I can only see once. All right. Looks pretty okay to me. And then after that, if I am here, I will see only like 2 slides or 2 images that I can slide through. Okay, and then I can also come to the bigger side, to the bigger slides, to the bigger view, and I can see that the slide can actually go bigger in such a way. Okay, I think this is interesting and I think it works. Alright, so let's just play around with a little bit. I'm not really wanted to put in here with this image, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some cards, which is like together with the information and so on. So what I'll do is let's go back again to Bootstrap, because in Bootstraps I'm going to go to the component, and in the component I'm going to choose a card. Okay, so in this card, this is actually the one that we have been using before this. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to try out something new that I've never tried this before. I found out that what I can do also with Bootstrap is I can choose, let me see, it actually sits somewhere way down. Oh my god, this is actually quite long. Okay, yeah, I found it already somewhere around here. So there is actually an image overlay, all right, which is the image sitting at the back with some text on tops and so on. Okay, so it says here that this is a div with a class card with a dark background. There should be an image. There should be a card with the image overlay with some text in here and so on, that I can always customize it. I think this is pretty cool. So what I'll do is I'm going to copy this up. Okay, then after that I'm going to come back. This is actually the part where you have to be a bit patient and put in one by one. I believe that you're actually quite an expert in doing this as well. If you did, well done. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the first image here, and I'm going to drop in, let's see, I'm going to drop in the cards. Okay, so here is my card. I'm going to put the image in here. So this will be the image of A1. All right, so let's take a look what happened when I do this. I'm going to come back here. All right, so I think that I have the card here that looks something like this. I think this is actually pretty cool. All right, I could also play around with a little bit of style, and then after that I'm going to put the height here that says that everything have to come with a minimum height. For examples, like I'm going to say that the minimum height here will be, it doesn't show, let me just try it again. Minimum height, oh sorry, what am I trying to say here? Minimum height, yeah, there it is, would be about 300 pixels. Okay, let's see how it looks like it with a minimum height of 300 pixels. So it looks something like this. I think it looks pretty okay. All right, and I'm going to try out with the others as well, because I think this is actually pretty cool. All right, let's say I'm going to copy and paste the whole entire div cards. Okay, then after that, let's put it into the second one and change the picture in here. Okay, to A2, and then I'm going to do again for the next one. This is going to take a while, so I'm just going to keep quiet and do this so that you guys also can concentrate on yours. See, I'm still talking, so I'm just going to keep quiet for a while and finish this off faster. This will be A5. This will be A6. A7. And then A8, and then A9. Okay, and you know what? Because I have 10 pictures, I'm going to throw in the last one here that start from the LI, drop in the next LI, and then I'm going to make it so that it become A10 here. So there you go. I'm supposed to have like all 10 pictures. And let's see how it looks like. All right, so this is the first one. I don't understand why the pictures or the tag. Okay, again, all right, so this is how it's supposed to look like. I think it looks pretty cool. What do you think? All right, now if let's say I wanted to have a little bit different design, so I can actually scroll up back again on top and then change this to container dash flute. Maybe the section here, I'm going to put a little bit of a class that says that I'm going to have a padding on the Y with a little bit bigger on 5, and then I'm going to put in here background color to be in light. Alright, so let's see how it looks like. It will look something like this, okay, and yeah, and maybe I can actually say that it will be per page is like 5, okay, and then by the time it's 800 it become 3, okay, or maybe become 2, and maybe what I can do is I can just like copy this, put it on the top and give another breakpoint. So let's say the breakpoint, if that is 1200, it will become 3, but if that is 800, it will become 2, and then if that is 650, it will become 1. Now let's see what happens if we do this. Alright, so in the beginning it becomes 5. Actually it looks pretty okay. Alright, so I have like the first 5. Okay, and then you see this actually how it looks bigger, but by the time it get a bit smaller, I can see only 3. Okay, and then if I can go here smaller, it become 1 or 2, and then it become 1. Okay, so I believe that this will become a very good design for some content. So let's just put in a little bit of headings on top. Okay, so here I have a section. Okay, so maybe I'm going to put here another div. I say that this is a div. What am I doing? Hang on. I'm going to make it easier for me to write. Dot container, and then after that I'm going to put here as a dot row, okay, and dot col dash 12. So here I say I'm going to have a text which is a heading 1, okay, and then after that let's say that we put it a bit of the selection of Splide, okay, with a little bit of a paragraph with some lorem 20 perhaps, and I'm going to put a class here to be lead, right, and then after that the heading here to be heading 1 is to be on the class, sorry guys, of display maybe 3. Okay, now let's have a look. So I have this. Alright, so this is actually my Splide. Okay, yes, I think it looks pretty cool, so I can actually play around with this. Alright, and I can add up some more of you know, like a parallel, for example, things. Let's just give it a try. I wanted just now to say that it will be self-animated or auto-scrolling. Okay, let's see what is it like to be auto-scrolling. I just need to put here the type equals to loops and the drag is free, and you need to transpile the code here. Auto-scroll, okay, never mind. I think that will be a little bit difficult. Let's just see that I wanted to have somewhere on top here that it covers the image, that is add and turn, breakpoint, nested, right to left, fade transition, autoplay. Yes, this is actually probably something what I could put. And autoplay. So it says here an autoplay equals to true, and then the type equal to loop. Let me just copy up the whole things first, and then just these 3 lines, drop it in here. Let's see what I have in. It says here, okay, let me just drop it in. Alright, so the page per page equal to 3, I'm going to take it out because that one I have already have it here. Okay, so I'm going to take this out. So it says here that the type is equal to loop, meaning that it will be looping. Autoplay equal to true, meaning that it's going to autoplay by itself. You have like the per page by 5. You have a gap for like 2 rems. If you want to make it smaller, you can actually increase or reduce this. Maybe like 1 rem, right? And then on the breakpoint, you can actually reduce a little bit more of the size, and you can reduce a little bit more of the size here. So I think I am ready to test this out. So let's take a look. By the time I get here, you got 5. I think this look pretty cool. I can actually make it sit there a little bit, and just to see that it will auto scroll by itself. Do you see that? Alright, it auto scroll by itself. And what I can also do is I can actually make it scroll on its own as well. Yep, so there you have it, and I can reduce the size a little bit, and then after it will see that, alright, it would actually respond to your page, and it become a response to the smallest page like this, and you know, like it actually looks much nicer, just the way of how you had it with your airport and so on, which actually it depends on the design a little bit, but other than that, you know, like it gives you an idea of what the splider is all about. Okay, so I hope you guys are going to try this on your own, because I think it will be interesting if you can have one in your pages. All right, and good luck with that. Thank you.